Good evening, everybody, and welcome to a slightly late episode of Stat Check. I am your host, Innes, and I am joined by Nathan and Anthony. We are here today to talk about all things vaguely and tangentially related to Warhammer. If anyone is expecting serious content, that's fine. I have let Anthony know pre-show that anything he says on World Eaters today is binding and will form the community consensus for the next 18 months. So he is aware that he is talking with the authority of the entire population of good World Eaters players right now, all three of them. So he's going to be very careful with his words and not just say the first things that come to his head. I hope everybody's doing well today. We are here to talk about the new Death Guard Codex, the new World Eaters Codex, the new Space Wolf models, the amount of manual stats that we've been able to collect because we're still in our workarounds with BCP. We did some stuff. We've got BFS coming up this weekend. So lots of things to talk about. We hope everybody is having a fantastic time as we get into it. But as always, we'll start off with the easy bits. Nathan, how you doing? How's your last week or so been?
I'm doing all right. It's been going pretty good. I've played a couple games of 40k on TTS, both of them into the death. Immediately, Anthony disappears. Both of them into the new Death Guard book, like previewed version, etc., which has been kind of interesting. I very much disrespected it in the first game, playing with demons, and kind of just got blown right off the table. And then the second game, I played with EC because I've just been kind of like flipping through things on TTS with whatever kind of floats my boat while I build knights to put them on a real table. And that was a really close game that I probably could have won if I'd played it a little bit more tightly. But I don't know. I've been having a lot of fun building knights. I have all these knights. Like there's this castigator knight, and then
Go show me
there's a
that
Canis over
that
here.
chain again. How wiggly was it?
Sure. Very.
It's the classic.
It's a classic,
you know it's
very
real.
wiggly chain.
Now you can play against opponents. You can ask them to yank your chain.
Oh, exactly. Next to me, I have like 4 more freaking armigers to build. There's like 3 Cerastus Knights and a Canis, and then like 8 armigers hanging around me right now. So I'm getting there. But yeah, I don't know. It's been pretty good. I'm looking forward to starting to play Knights just full time real soon. I have not been, as chat seems to indicate, been bullying people with Knight chassis really just yet.
You should.
Maybe
It's
next
fun.
round of the teams event. It is fun. I don't know.
yeah,
I
we
have
should
fun piloting big robots.
I don't know if I can be bothered resubmitting my list. I'll probably just play the same thing for the 3rd week in a row because I can't be bothered changing it.
I'm going to
so much
resubmit
effort.
as either like the 5 big greater demons like incursion list or just knights. And I
You should
haven't
just play
decided
knights.
which
If
of
you're
the
playing
two
it
I'm
in
going
real
to do
life,
yet.
just go and play knights, bro.
That's fair. I will just play knights. Yes, there is a lobster on top of my printer. Actually, it's a lobster.
That's a blood
'cause it's
lobster.
Boston.
Blood lobster. Yeah.
Blood lobster.
Yeah, it's the bloodletting lobster. Hence why it's so red.
Isn't that like most
I'm planning on.
lobsters?
Yeah,
Don't worry about
only
it.
when they're cooked. Yeah. Otherwise, yeah, I'm printing like Chaos Knights bits to make these loyalist equivalent of Chaos Knights by just giving them Chaos Knight weapons, essentially. So, if you see some loyalist carnivores running around in Boston, that's me who's playing them. That's about it.
Nathan,
Yeah.
if people
Oh.
see you, they will know who you are. You are like a niche internet micro celebrity. People will know who you are.
No.
I don't know. That's not true. I've walked into the Warhammer store twice and nobody has known who I am.
Was it like the Warhammer store, like the official, or was it?
Yeah, the
like
official
an LGS?
Warhammer store. It's actually quite nice. I like the Boston local store quite a bit. They're like running a little they're running a crusade league with 30 people in it, which is quite interesting. That is the
That's a lot
biggest
of people.
crusade league I've ever seen. So yeah, that's it. That's what's going on. Work and then building knights and then waiting to punch people with them in person. How about you, Anthony? How are you doing?
I am doing a lot of practicing of the new World Eater Codex. That has been my sole focus for a week. It's going. We're trying.
He's out there in the world mines.
Yeah, I am, as Spatho so lovingly put it, Angron's angriest soldier. Let me look and find exactly what he said. It was like it's a picture of me from Cali Cup, and it says, "Stop giving me your toughest battles," and then it's a picture of Angron, and it says, "But you're my angriest soldier," and that is how the last couple, that's about how the last week has felt. Yeah, I'm starting with I played like a handful of games of like, All Reliable Berserker Warband to see how it felt. Now I'm playing Demonkin and fucking 100 Zerkers and all sorts of stupid shit to make sure that I don't miss anything. Um, yeah, it's going. It's happening. I'm not thrilled about it, but it's okay. We're trying, and trying's the main thing that you got to do right now.
Have you tried the Rhino detachment?
No, I refuse to play bad Sky Splinter, which is, it's incredible that they could make Sky Splinter somehow less efficient, but they found a way. Or
Good.
even
That's
if you
our
are,
first. I want to just keep a track of all of the declarative statements that Anthony has made about World Eaters on this show, so that we can come back in 3 months' time.
yeah,
The first one is
yeah,
Gore track is terrible. That's the first
Gore Track is bad.
declaration.
Yeah.
Anthony's vows of slaughter. Gore track sucks. That's one.
Yeah, Gore Track's not good.
Well,
Guys,
we're gonna
don't-
try to get 8 out of you. All right.
Okay,
So,
sure. That's
Anthony's
not going to be
8
too hard.
declarations on World Eaters.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to track those for me, I'll give you credit, and we'll put it up at the end of on the next show or
Yeah.
something like that.
It ain't going to be Gore Track. Is not going to be where I land. So we can start there. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's they could have done a lot of things with the book and given them really cool, flavorful, interesting, powerful rules. And apparently the one person capable of that at Games Workshop was busy working on Death Guard. So, hopefully we get some point cuts in fucking June, That's going to be the hope, is that we get some cuts. We get Possessed powerful, The option to be Deathwing Knight powerful or Sisters powerful has been left behind, and we are moving forward for the hope of Possessed powerful. That's what we're hoping for. Just 8-bound that don't cost anything, and we get too many of them. And, that's what we're hoping for. That's the life we're trying to live now. So...
what you're actually going to live is Tyraniid powerful, where you slowly get the points cost chipped away to be slightly too expensive still, but you get just enough to cling to the relevance. That's Tyraniid powerful. So
yeah,
there are many different ways to be powerful this edition, unfortunately.
Look, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. It might work out fine. There are some genuinely extremely powerful things in there. Pile Console 6 army wide is insane.
Good.
It's an insane rule. It just might not be enough. And
people are out there playing Hearthband Votan for that stratagem, and you just get it. It's pretty good.
Yeah, look, again, very good rule. It's just a matter of if you can get enough things over the line to kind of make it worth it. I am going to try more than I would normally try of something that I would rate this low in initial power to get this over the line. So we'll see where we land. Again, there are just enough times where Pile Console 6 is just oh no, horrible things happen now. So we'll see. Maybe it works out. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe an old build works. Maybe it won't. One thing I'm confident of is that they actually, and this is going to be hot take numero uno, I think, is that Angron is a point cut away from being good. If they make him low, not even as low as Mortarion was, but just low enough that you're comfortable rapid ingressing him, he can be very good.
He's still fast and hits like a truck, right?
He's not that fast, but everyone fucking pisses their pants about Scarbrand, and Angron is just as quick even after Scarbrand advances and flies. So,
yeah, 14 fly off on Ingress is fast enough to clear a lot of screens, right?
Yeah, it's going to be okay, especially when that thing can Pile Console 6. So if you jump the screen and then charge and
yeah, you're causing real bad, happy, no fun times in your opponent's backfield.
Yeah, generic
with a no fallback aura that could just be catastrophic.
Yeah, with just bad things noises over there. So he can be good. Angron is not Fulgrim. He's point cuttable down to a point where he's good again. It's possible.
He's not on a 130.
Yes.
They rebox him into a 130 just to fuck with me. That's actually my move. If I got one wish in Warhammer right now, it would be that all the Primarchs got rebased onto
130s. Yeah, that'd be fucked.
Just all of them.
So I think that there's a lot of room there. I do think that broad stroke, the power of the Codex came down a lot.
And it already wasn't great.
What's up?
It already wasn't doing great, right?
No,
Which is
in a general sense, like I thought it was awesome, right? Like in my like very specific view as like, you know, probably the most practiced World Eaters pilot on the planet, specifically in the environment of teams that I exclusively play in, all of which have high level pairings, people that can angle me the right way. We're talking about a 1-of-1, you know, play experience situation. In exactly my angle, they were extremely powerful. For like 99% of the rest of the people that interact with this army at all ever, pretty middle of the pack, right? Not the world's, you know, fucking strongest army.
Not the world's eaters, as it were.
Right. I
Fuck off, Nathan.
think be, I think the way in which they reduced the like wide cut strength of the army should have been met with significant point cuts, and it just wasn't, at least not yet. They were very clearly worried about certain things when they set this up, right? Like the Kalos, probably not a 505 point model. 505 points does get prevented from being put in strat reserve and doing fucked up weird shit in the Jackal detachment, right? And that detachment is at any time just fucking millimeters away from being too good. The minute they can all have a 4-up invul and the front one gets a 5-up feel no pain, it can get touch and go if shit is too cheap around them, right? Because they're really good at bogging stuff down, and then you can, you know, Kalos your way to victory. So that shit can get scary in a fucking heartbeat. Just a thing that, you know, like that stuff makes sense, right?
There's a lot of stuff in the book that feels like it's a little, it's like it's close to being good, right? Like
Yeah.
it's one stat buff, 1 points cut, one, you know, something somewhere
Yeah.
from being pretty good, which is a better place to be. The one thing I will say, it doesn't feel like it's a boring book. It just feels like it's underpowered.
The thing that hurts me the most about the book is to watch, again, like if it didn't release alongside Death Guard, I don't think it would hurt as bad. But like it releasing at the same, like Death Shroud as an example, right? Being 20 points cheaper than Exalted is just like, what?
Yeah,
Why? The thing that like from like the fluff Anthony perspective grinds my gears more than anything is that all of the like legions have different ways to kind of difference themselves like from base legionnaires, right? Like for Death Guard it's their toughness, for Emperor's Children it's their, you know, speed, etc., scout, you know, precision. Like there's a bunch of things that their chainswords do, right? The World Eater ones are faster, granted, much like the EC ones. I don't know how that became the dynamic, even though the EC ones are always
EC
faster,
ones are 7. Yeah, why are World Leaders ones 8? It's an
they're not faster though, because the EC ones have the detachment rule. So like,
Sure,
I mean,
yeah,
the army rule. So
baseline faster, right?
yeah. But the World Eater ones, once you're past that, are just nothing.
Blood Surge
They're-
and
But that's a data sheet rule, right? Like everyone has a data sheet rule. So why aren't like it's a stupid thing, but even just them
why
being
aren't they,
strength
like,
5 is
stronger
like
or
yeah, +1 AP even. Fuck, like give me something. You know,
go on, bro, give me nothing.
yeah. Like unironically, Legionnaires don't even get the extra heavy weapon when they go beyond to a 10-man. They still have one more than Berserkers do. It's just like a weird why that like it's not. I say this all the time with stuff. It's my least favorite way for something to be bad is when it's not bad. It's why though. Like why did they do it this way? Why are these things like this?
Yeah, why are Corn Berserk like? Why is it Blood Surge and Chainswords? Right? Why is it not? Yeah.
Don't know. Couldn't tell you. Most of the disappointment for me,
Reduce their strength
obviously,
by 1. It doesn't make any sense.
most of the disappointment for me, obviously, as like the world's largest, 8-bound fan, is tied up in them. Regular 8-bound are fine if narrowly applied on their buff. Exalted are just not very good. There's, again, worlds where their points costs come down, and then it's functional again, but it's just kind of like a bag fumble on the datasheet level. If you want them to be expensive, that's fine. Just like,
Make them
Give
be
'em-
expensive.
Yeah, we've like moved from a place where 8-bound used to be like hitting on 2s with a 4-up invul and flat 3 damage to just slowly getting eroded to being AP3 8-bound. And that kind of sucks. But, again, there are some good things, right? The Demon Prince, pretty good most of the time. He's not bad. It's one of the better versions of the Walking Prince that's around. It's not better than the Death Guard one, but if we look at that book too much, we'll get sad, so we just ignore that for right now. It just, there are some things that are good. The MOE, honest to God, is not that bad. Like, people, really freaked out about him being, so much worse. He's pretty okay. Like, reroll advances is pretty good. Reroll blood surges is quite nice when it matters. Getting a CP from killing stuff is good. He retained all his rerolls. Notably, him and Karn are like the only things in the book that give you rerolls outside of like really specific circumstances and other detachments. So that's pretty good.
Karn felt very fun to play with.
Karn's great.
That's a good day sheet.
Yeah, Karn owns. Karn, the first, like, you know, when you open up a Berserker Warband list and you put Karn and 10 Berserkers in, if you just like stop there, you're like, dude, this army's gonna be nuts. This is gonna be sick. You add 3 spawn, you're like, dude, this is gonna be crazy. How does this go wrong? And then you like do the rest, and you're like, what happened? Yeah. The other one that's felt really weird to me, this is obviously just like an index to codex adjustment thing. The rate at which jackals die is just like so wild. They died pretty fast before, obviously, right? They're still jackals, but like the 5 of Feeling Pain kind of kept them around as like shitters for a bit, you know, like Rax used to be in Jakari. But holy motherfucking jackals are just like, a flamer unit in demons. See ya, boys.
Yeah, T4 is not the buff it used to be, right?
No, it is not.
Like as a Gene Circle player, looking at some of this T4, I'm like, yeah, dude, that's so durable. And then I'm like, my acolytes do still explode to like everything, and jackals are less durable than acolytes, and that's a low bar to cross.
Yeah. So it's tough. It's tough right now. I'm doing a lot of trying. If you're out
tried,
there,
three Forge Fiends, 3 Predator Destructors, 3 Predator Annihilators yet?
I'm never gonna play that. It's just not a thing I'm gonna waste my time with. If you want to hit on 4s, you can tell your opponent to use the smoke stratagem while you play CSM.
Triple Land Raider. Come on, man. We gotta go to this week's birthday. Mark, if it's good enough for Mark Cartel.
Dude, I bet someone is gonna try that. But I have a limited like amount of hours, and I have a lot of hours, but it's still limited. So there's only so much one can do with the amount of hours that they have, and I would like to use them on things that I will be good at, because there's no world I'm ever going to be good at 12 tanks. What'd you say?
Like EC.
Yeah, there's good odds that I just start playing EC instead. I've already played quite a bit of EC. There's decent. Every time I watch an EC game, I'm like, how does this lose ever? How ever has a game of Emperor's Children been lost? And then I like watch them get shot, and I'm like, oh yeah, they're tactical Marines, and if you play badly, they just explode. So most people aren't going to do great with them. But like, still. Yeah, I don't know. It's a sight, man. You're really out there as world leaders right now. You're really out there just as your data sheet, doing your best. And I think,
how are you? Oh.
Yeah, Innes, how are you doing?
Past that shit.
Innes, how are you doing? We're gonna stop to do that.
I've played 1 game with World Eaters. It was great fun. We had an active fight behind the scenes on who gets to play them for Team Scotland right now, which is a very hilarious dichotomy. So, you know, just different strokes, right? I activated 1 Forge Fiend and 1 shot a Demon Prince. It was great. I've been having a good time with it. I existentially dread the idea of 6-inch Pilot Consolidation as a host of Ascension player. It just ends my soul. So, you know, I can see a world. I'm not convinced it will end up being good. I've played exactly 1 game with it and watched the second one, which was a loss. So, you know, there's lots of room to go here. How have I been? I did some stuff this weekend. I didn't play Warhammer much. I played like 1 game on Sunday into New Death Guard, which was interesting. Fubadas with Habilos are pretty good. I don't know. I'm gonna just like butcher that word. I refuse to call them by their proper name now, because until they're at least 150 points, they don't deserve names. Yeah, Mortarion tried to fight on death and failed. The one time he got them, was like, okay, cool. He got exploded by an Infractor squad. Yeah, not much else. Went to a concert, which was cool. Went to it with my sister, and that was about it. Not really that much else. And then Battle for Salvation on Thursday, which is very much what we're looking forward to. Looking forward to getting the stream game with Lennon in on Friday night for charity. I'm sure we decided at some point what charity that was.
Thursday night?
No, we rescheduled it to after the game on Friday so that we didn't have to go to the venue in case there was flight delays and stuff.
Oh,
Friday.
Okay, cool.
Friday night. So we've got Thursday to chill. That seemed easier. Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at right now. I fly in like 18 and like 30 hours. So
damn, that's soon.
I know, right? Thursday 9 a.m. Gotta love it. I land at like 12. Time traveling to the US is great.
Your 1 hour flight.
Yeah, it's fantastic, right? I'll have breakfast, go for a nap on the flight, wake up in the States. It'll be great. I'll be eating a bacon, egg, and cheese by 2.
Yeah, I mean, the people that are coming in early are going to have a blast. It's going to be real chill. We have a lot of like room, space, time, and things to do in the area. So
Easy.
it's
And
like
then I've got
remember where I used to live?
yeah,
Where it was like in the woods and there was nothing to do and it was quite
yeah.
boring. Imagine just like the opposite of that.
Oh, we're just like in a place with stuff.
With stuff and friends, new people. Yeah, it's good.
Like as a little weird child, I don't know if I can do new people and friends and do
Dude,
stuff.
you're gonna be
That
great.
sounds dangerous.
No, we'll
But
drink. It's gonna be fine.
perfect.
Yeah.
And then I'm actually staying in the US for 3 days afterwards. So I'm gonna actually like go and see some stuff in the States because I'm there for the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Woo!
So actually gonna visit a country and do stuff there instead of just going and then vanishing. Like, how many times have you been to a place for Warhammer and then just vanished instantly after like seeing the airport, and like the town center once for drinks?
I think
So
the ones that I've seen like just any of at all are like the obvious ones that I've spent just like a ton of time in, which is like Scotland, Belgium.
Mechlin,
Yeah, no, just I've seen Brussels and Mechlin.
sure.
Poland, I've seen more of than I think America at this point, if you go by percentage. Um, yeah, I think that's pretty much it, though.
Yeah, for me, it's like, yeah, I've seen way too much of Manchester because that's just where all the events are. No one should spend as much time as I have in Stockport. Vegas, I've seen a decent amount of because of Ben, and that's pretty much it. Poland for the same reasons, right? And Mechlin, yeah, just not a ton of like going places and seeing things. So I'm trying to like when I go to cool places now, I'm trying to like append an extra day on the end and stuff like that now a little more. Now that I don't have to like take time off from work, so I can actually like justify spending an extra day or two. It's become a lot easier. So like I'm doing an event in Amsterdam, the ETC again. So we're going to Amersfoort for that, and then I'm actually going to go and stay with a friend in the Netherlands for like a week, and then go to an event in Germany. And I'm like tying it all together. I'll just work from home. It's going to be great. So yeah, kind of really try to tie that together. Hey Martine, it's Martine I'm staying with. I also got some really cool new things for Magic. There are SpongeBob cards now, and it's my favorite.
That is my
Hilarious.
favorite sponge. That is my favorite Magic card that I've seen from a secret lair. It is amazing.
We oh, sorry, finish what you're saying, Nathan.
No, I was saying it was amazing.
Oh, yeah. The other city we've also spent way too much time in this, or just area at least, is Austria, because it's fuck awful to get to and from Leoben. So we've spent just tons of time there.
Look, let's not worry about it. And Oliver, yes, I buy way too many secret layers. I like secret layers. I like making my commander decks look pretty, and I like getting this deflect and swat and fierce guardianship for £30 instead of 50. So yeah, no complaints. I gotta have a hobby. I play too much Warhammer to have it be my hobby now. So this is like my job, and the Magic's my hobby now. Right, let's roll on. So as people may know, there have been some issues with BCP recently. Obviously, stuff like Armies has been down, as well as ourselves. That is still ongoing. We are still working on the resolutions for that. They are coming. We do have an arrangement sorted that should be fixing this stuff, but it is not in place yet. So for the time being, we are still on manual stat checking, but because Jeremy is a wonderful human being, he has done all of it for the week, and we do have stats for you as usual. Nathan, would you like to take over your section?
Let's do it. All right, we're going to talk about stats, which means Anthony immediately mutes himself, but that's fine. All right. Number one, which feels like a classic returning to form, is Eldari. And first, 76 players, 7.7% of the meta, a 58.1% win rate. One event win, 5 top 4s, 13 top 10s for a 0.97 overrep. In second place, Imperial Knights. What part of the edition are we in? Are we back at the beginning of 10th edition? 61 players, 6.2% of the meta, a 56.9% win rate, 2 event wins, 7 top 4s, 16 top 10s, and a 1.69. In third place is Drukari, 22 players, 2.2% of the meta, a 56.4% win rate, 1 event win, 3 top 4s, 4 top 10s for a 2.01 for overrep. In fourth is Space Wolves, 14 players, 1.4% of the meta, 54.1% win rate, 1 top 4, 3 top 10s for 1.05. And then rounding out the top 5 is Chaos Demon, 71 players, 7.2% of the meta, a 54% win rate, a eye-watering 4 event wins this weekend, 7 top 4s, 16 top 10s, and a 1.45 for overrep. And not to be excluded, in 6th place, I just feel like talking about it, is Death Guard with 35 players, 3.5% of the meta, a 53.2% win rate, 3 event wins, 4 top 4s, 10 top 10s, and a 1.68 over rep. So Death Guard still doing just fine with just their index. And yeah, I don't know. At the very bottom, we have Imperial Agents, though they only had 2 players, so it barely counts, but they had a 22.2% win rate. They
Poor
went
guys.
2-7. Second from the bottom, and the first real faction at the bottom is Tau. 28 players, 2.8% of the meta, 42% win rate, 1 top 4, 4 top 10s, and a 0.53. Second from the bottom, and it seems like just stuck in the bottom 5 forever this edition, is Adeptus Mechanicus. 20 players, 2% of the meta, 42.3% win rate, 2 top 4s, 3 top 10s, and a 1.47 for overrep. Dark Angels are third from the bottom, 30 players, 3% of the meta, a 42.6% win rate, 2 top 10s, and that's it. Astra Militarum, rounding out the bottom 5, if you include Imperial Agents, with 64 players, 6.5% of the meta, a 43% win rate, 1 top 4 and 11 top 10s for a 0.23 for overrep. And then Blood Angels rounding out the bottom 5 with 37 players, 3.8% of the meta, 2 top 4s, 4 top 10s, and a 0.8. Other event winners, Basic Space Marines won an event, and they had a 45.4% win rate, 2 top 4s, 5 top 10s. And then Adeptus Custodes won an event, and they had 1 event win, 2 top 4s, 8 top 10s, and a 0.5 for overrep with a 49.4% win rate. And that is all of our event winners. Most of the event wins basically in the top 10. Oh, I forgot Orcs. Orcs had 3 event wins. 7 top
fucking
4s,
hate Orcs.
10 top 10s, and a 2.58 overrep, 52% win rate. And then Tyranids won an event as well with a 53% win rate, 4 top 4s, 10 top 10s, and a 1.4 for overrep. It is very stacked kind of at the top, though. Just all of the event wins basically in the top 10 factions, and then a sparing amount for everybody else in every other part of this. Chaos Demons are really good, it seems. Death Guard might still be good. Imperial Knights apparently are good. And then Orcs, despite Mordaka getting yeeted into the sun, more or less, although it probably is still viable, also still doing quite good. So, I don't know. The stats say that everything is top heavy, and that's just the life that we lead now.
Classic metagame. Top heavy at the top.
Yep. That's kind of it for stats. We'll have more faction breakdowns and detachment stuff in like a couple weeks when we start getting army lists and stuff back. But for now, yeah, things seem like everybody overrated how much orcs got nerfed. Eldari kind of surging. Chaos Demons really good. The win rate window is really tight, but there are a bunch of more factions under it than over it. So there you go. Worth keeping an eye on. We'll probably get a better summary in a couple weeks when we have the rest of our data from BCP and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's an interesting time to see the metagame looking cool. Nids winning a GT is cool. I'd still hate that army, but I did play a game with it today and I didn't despise it. So
It's a tough army to like.
Every time I play it, if it's not Invasion Fleet, I'm like, God, I wish I was playing Invasion Fleet. And then I play Invasion Fleet, I'm like, God, I wish this did anything besides kill infantry.
It does kill. There is not an amount of elite infantry you can put in front of an invasion fleet,
no,
though.
absolutely not. my poor opponent losing units to was just like 3 Raveners just like lifting things. He's like, what the fuck is going on? I'm like, I don't know, dude. They just have crit 5s because I used it on someone else, and they're just gonna have it too. So it's great fun.
It's honestly
I played
very
against,
funny that.
Yeah. Sorry, go for it, Nathan.
No, I was going to say that army just auto-populates the triple Exocrines and triple Maleceptors, and then you just kind of run around with whatever you want after that.
Yeah. I played a game today with a double Norn, double Tyrannofex, double Exocrine, and it was pretty fun. So
nice.
I just put 2 Norns on an objective in front of my
Norns.
opponent. Was like, kill two Norns or let me have primary, or put like playing against EC. So it's just like put an entire army into this Norn in the middle objective if you want to kill it, and then I will invasion fleet at you. And he went, I guess I have to, and that was it.
Yep.
Drew, bring it down too. You really didn't have a choice. Do you know how many noise marines it takes to kill a Norn emissary in the middle objective?
Quite a
Too
few.
many.
All of them. It takes all of them.
It certainly did take all of them to do 6 to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't a great life. Okay, so should we talk about Death Guard next then? Given that book
Yes.
is
Let's talk
also
about
new
Death
and
Guard.
and available. Or do we want to talk about the new Space Wolf models first to like ball tingle Death Guard players a little bit?
I mean, look, those models are
We
pretty
should.
sweet.
I'm definitely going to order all of those models and then paint
I
them.
am also probably
don't
going
think
to
I've
order all
looked.
of those models.
I don't think I've looked at a model release recently in 40K and been like, these models just speak to me, and I just want to buy all of them and paint them.
So it's
I've-
worth saying that if the Space Wolf models speak to you like that, there is a diagnosis for that,
Ah,
and it is not
Oh, is
one that
there?
you'll enjoy. But
Oh shit. I don't know. I don't think you can look at Logan Grimnar and like not be super excited because
inside you
whoever
there are
sculpted
2
that
wolves.
thing-
That's too many wolves.
There are 3 wolves, and they're all howling at the moon at the same time.
That's good. The Logan Grimnar model is incredible. I am a very big fan.
Yep.
The Terminators are also really sick. I'm really looking forward
I-
to giving them all generic helmets and calling them any Terminators I want. But yeah,
They definitely just kind of all of the character models, like Arjak throwing his hammer as like one of the alternative sculpts is quite cool. They did a really good job with those characters and those models, so they look quite nice.
yeah, not as cool as the new drop pod though. The new drop pod's the best.
It is true. It is just the best new piece of terrain that you can put on your tables as ruins.
I mean, hopefully they're bad. Please don't be good again.
They're gonna get fun. Look, you see what the rules they're putting on rhinos nowadays, right?
Stop it. Shut up. Leave it alone.
The drop pod's gonna hold 12 and give you oath the moment when you disembark from it against
Shut
your
up.
target.
+1 to hit and +1 to wound against whatever you want. I don't
No,
know.
it's just gonna give you like the thing you target has oath against it if you shoot it with the if you disembark from a drop on this turn.
I'll stop playing. I'll do it. I'll go do something else.
I will say that Alternative Clover is right that Logan Grimnar is probably officially the best model in the Space Marine range. And then I'm gonna be honest, I don't know that another model is gonna come out this year that's better than that Logan Grimnar model.
This is fucking dead, dude.
I'm just bypassing all of Innis's breaking. We're just gonna walk away from it, just completely.
That's bullshit, dude.
I'm glad your mic picked that up.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you know, need a better one.
At least he's not using airplane headphones anymore as his like headphones.
No, he's talking to me.
Oh, fair.
Yeah, like we didn't have to respond to Anthony's wild declarative statement number 3.
I think Anthony's at his best with wild declarative statements. I won't lie to you.
Usually they're pretty close.
I actually want to hear some more about the World Leaders Codex just to continue to blue ball Death Guard players for a little bit longer. Like, what data sheets Anthony actually
Thunderwolves
likes
are like
from that book?
Thunderwolves are definitely going to Legends, right? Like there was not a single Thunderwolf in any of those.
I mean,
There
that doesn't
was
mean
a
they're definitely going to
Thunderwolf.
Legends.
It
That don't mean
was-
shit.
There was a Thunderwolf. It was dead, skinned,
God,
and
I-
on Logan Grimnar's back.
God, I hope they're going to Legends. I bought 6 of them so that they'd go to Legends. I was like, if
should
I
buy-
own these, they'll go away.
You should buy 6 more. I think that'll do it.
Logan Grimnar is not on a 130 millimeter base. Come on,
That'd be
guys.
awesome.
That would
That'd
be
be sick.
hilarious.
Good idea. That's
He'd be so big. If he
GW,
was
hire this man.
I want that because when I disembark from a Rhino or an Impulsor, he places in base contact with it and just charge anything.
Actually, that's great from a drop pod now.
I
can
want to put him.
email
I want to
you
put him in a Land Raider with a salt ramp, drive the Land Raider directly forward, and then Logan disembarks in base contact with it. That's what I want. Yeah,
Then
130
charges
mil base. Give me plus
charges
6 to my charge.
2
distance.
inches. Something you thought was safe. Man, with he'd be able to breach though, because he's just an infantry model. So can you imagine that'd be
Exactly.
pretty easy to move around. He'll just move through walls with an 130 millimeter base.
Has to advance at least 2 to go from one side to the other.
No. He's got wolves on his base, so he moves at least 10 inches. Just
That's true.
watch.
All Space Marine models are movement 7 now, except regular Space Marines. So.
It'd be the ultimate middle finger to Emperor's Children player, though, to watch like Logan Grimnar be on a 130 millimeter base with the ability to breach ruin walls while freaking Fulgrim has to go around them.
Yeah.
It would be. It'd be very funny too. Right.
It would be funny.
Death Guard then. So people have been, I would say broadly, fairly hot on the Death Guard Codex. Does that sound like an accurate statement?
I think people are bugging a little too much, but yeah.
I think that's probably also true.
I think as much as like I'm sad about parts of the Eater's Codex for comparison to the Death Guard one, I think people are getting a little wild about the Death Guard one for its comparison to the Eater's one.
There's
When
like
I'm not even
yeah.
100% sure that I would put the Death Guard matchup into New Eaters as favored. So like I think everyone needs to take it a step the fuck back.
Yeah, there are definitely some very powerful data sheets in Death Guard,
Yeah.
particularly this thing. The fuck? Why is it 100 points? I don't
Yeah, that probably
understand.
shouldn't be 100 points. That's a
Probably
mistake.
probably shouldn't be less than like 140, but let's like not, like if it's an exocrine, let's just make it the same points as an exocrine. An
I'd
exocrine
settle
is like wildly undercosted, so
Yeah, I'd settle for 130 without being upset, right?
yeah, that seems fair. Cheaper
But-
than a Predator because it doesn't have all the bonus guns. Fine,
Yeah.
whatever. I'll live. But yeah, like chuck 90 points on that list minimum, on every Death Guard list minimum, and we can start talking about.
Yeah. Same thing like the Lord of Contagions, maybe appropriate costed, but it's also 55 points per Lord of Contagion. So maybe making that a datasheet rule was a mistake. But
yeah,
we're here now.
they have like that weird limitation where it's like once one Lord of Contagion can do it per phase, right? So if you fuck
Do they?
around, I think so. I feel like someone mentioned that to me. Maybe I'm going mad.
I mean, that'd be cool if they did.
I know the Lord of Virulence isn't limited once per guy per phase.
I didn't know that, but I don't think you'd run more than one, so I think that's probably okay. Look, Death Guard are very good. I just think it's really easy to lose the plot on like what a Death Guard army is. So
Which is
maybe just everyone
Really
just
good
take
at
it.
hitting the things in front of it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like Death Shroud
The
gets
first
Deep
time-
Strike.
A model with this ability is destroyed in a battle round, so it only triggers the first time. It happens each battle round.
It isn't. It's going to be hard to kill more than one Lord of Contagion.
It's not
isn't it?
that hard if they're playing them like really aggressively at you.
So the problem I saw in the one game that I watched, or one of the games I watched of them, I should say, is that the fuckers still get the feel no pain when it's the activation.
Yeah.
And if you only have lined up one thing to kill them, you might not take down the fat man at the end.
That is definitely true. It's an army of better make sure you kill the thing, right? Like you've got
Yeah.
That one dude is two Custodes Wardens, right? Like you got to treat him like he's two Custodes Wardens.
And he's, he doesn't have it for the whole phase. It's just the activation, right? But
Yeah,
like,
for sure. Put some more stuff there, like have
Yeah.
a grenade ready, right? Just be an adult about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The rest of it, like Pock, I personally think Poxwalkers getting infiltrate is the mistake of the Codex. I don't understand why the fuck they needed that, but
So
I
like,
think zombies having OC and being able to do actions is wild and ridiculous.
So,
but
like-
that's just me.
I think it's okay. Again, I'm gonna sound like the world's largest Death Guard, fucking shield up.
no,
here.
you're gonna sound like the world's biggest. Please put 60 Poxwalkers in front of me as World Eaters player. Actually, is what you sound like.
As anything I play, that would be fine, right? But more importantly, I think that there's enough, like all of the gun armies that are even used right now have some semblance of countercharge, or
Yeah,
in
for
the
sure.
case of guard, who are not taking as much countercharge, screens, right? Plenty of shit.
Look.
Go out in front.
As a Gene Star Cult player, it offends me deeply that they can do this to me. And I don't want to be on the receiving end of it. But that is very much a Gene Star Cult thing. Playing against
Also-
65 lone Poxwalkers would make me cry as a host of a Central player. But
Would you not just kill literally all of them immediately?
not with Stealth Scout and Infiltrate. They're just all going to hide if they don't go first, and then I'm never going to get into midfield. It's a very specific host of Ascension cannot deal with that problem. It's not
Alright.
that's not a real thing for the
Well,
game.
you know
It
what?
just makes
Good.
me mad.
I'm glad that there's finally something that Host of Ascension can't deal with.
Oh,
Fuck
did you look at my matrixes for BMS?
No, I didn't actually. I just said that raw. I'm sure it's a goddamn nightmare. All the same, I think that like them being able to do that's okay. I think that like, them having
That's
like an early game threat that you have to deal with at all, as opposed to just none whatsoever,
That's fair.
is maybe fine.
Um,
I think that in the detachment that gives them sticky, based on my valuable Deceptors experience, starting the game with 4 sticky objectives is fucking hilarious.
I am like hardcore. Virulent Victorum is so much the one I want to play. Right?
Yeah.
Every time
Yeah.
I read Leech Spore Casket, I'm like, oh, that's dumb.
Yeah, that's a set of rules.
That's a strategy you can use. Oh, okay, cool. You almost killed my Demon Prince. What if instead you got grenaded for 6? Maybe.
Yeah. Also, thanks for the health.
Um,
Because it heals them too, right? It's not
yeah,
just
it's every wound you've taken, grenade on a 5, heal for every wound you deal. It's Terror Shades, right?
yay. Conditionless terror shades.
Conditionless Terror Shades on a guy that has free strat. Yeah.
Yep.
And his toughness 12.
And has a feel no
and,
pain.
and has a feel no pain or is dev wounds in combat, depending on which version you prefer.
Pretty good.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
Death Rider interesting. I don't actually think the Death Rider are that crazy. Like they're good, but I think it's actually okay for them to have the rules they have.
I think Death Rider too cheap. I think Death Rider just
I
too
think
cheap.
that is probably fair, but I think that the rule set is interesting and I like it.
The rule set doesn't, fucking blow my head off my shoulders. Like, it's good, but a lot of the times what that rule means is like deep strike
They
with your
get
Death Shroud and charge to the front of
screen.
the enemy army
Yeah.
for, from 6 inches away, right?
What's
They
the
get to speed up
cost
their rapid
per
progress.
Death Shroud?
They're 140 for 3, 300 for 6.
That part makes me mad just every time.
That is-
part-
they're so
the fact
cheap.
that
They should-
the 3-man is better than the 6-man and the 3-man is cheaper. Yeah.
No, it's so like yes,
That's a
that is
custody
obviously
Terminator is what they are. They're custodes Terminators.
slow down. So I think it's okay
Sorry.
that the 3-man is cheaper than the 6-man because it reduces strat efficacy. It reduces the impact of them making those 6s, right? It should be challenging for Death Guard to come with a real cost for Death Guard to run 18 6-inch deep striking Death Shroud. That should not be an archetype that sees the light of day at any point this edition. That should be priced out of being possible at any point. That should never be good. But the 3-mans are still just too cheap when you take in the totality of the buffs that they have gotten, right? What
Yeah,
is
I would
the
agree.
like they're not to be Anthony from 15 minutes ago, but they hit on 2s, they have 4 wounds, they have a 4-up invuln. That
And they're T7.
that and they have a 2-up base. That probably worth 50 points per model between me and you, us just
And they have a
talking.
gun.
Yeah, that too. A flamer, no less. Us just talking. I think that's pretty good. That's around the model that. And again, I don't think they need to be like crazy more expensive, right?
Yeah, I think if they had just stayed at the points they were at, which was like 160, 320, it'd have been fine.
The codex points. Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
Like if they just stayed there,
Probably fine.
maybe even 150, 300, maybe even like 150, 300.
I could see like 150, 320. Again, I really think
Okay.
the 6-man should be decentivized. I think we as like higher level players often discount the experience of just like 18 in. Now what? You've lost your 3 assets.
I was talking with a client about it, and the idea of being like, yeah, I'm gonna play like, what if you just play Mortarian's Hammer and your opponent just like didn't screen their backfield? You're just like, that thing's in Contagion Rage now, and just like boom, 18 Death Shroud on their own objective.
Yeah, that's bad. You probably wouldn't
bad-
put all 18 back there.
bad
That's a
time.
bit much, but
Yeah, you probably
yeah.
wouldn't, because you'd be putting too much in reserve. But
right. Yeah, I just think that like they're really good. They're like the hallmark of what a good Terminator data sheet should be. I think, and that's why
Yep.
people are like losing their minds about them a bit
they've
because this is
seen
what
the second good Terminator ever, and they're like, holy shit, it's broken.
right. Yeah, this is the Chaos Deathwing Knights, right? This is the Chaos Subfactions Deathwing Knights, and everyone's losing their fucking mind. But it's like, no, they're just this is good. It's okay that they're good.
Well,
They should
Death Knights
just-
have been doing all edition. Don't worry about it. It's not.
yeah,
bad.
and they're also just always -1 damage, but we'll ignore that for now. The thing that I
Still
do
for a
think
flavor
is
of Deathwing Knight, though.
the thing that I do think is bait is Blight Lords.
Yeah, they look terrible. I don't get it.
Blight Lords and Mortarion, in my opinion, are both like bait, just hardcore bait, because they both are too expensive to move as slowly and impact as few things as they do.
And they're going to be, again, they're another thing. Like, Death Guard has got a lot of stuff that kills your opponent's screens. You have so many flamers. You have 6-inch dropping death threats. You have blight drones. Like, your screens are dead, man. You don't need, and like, Blight Lords aren't getting to anything else. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's.
I think that like
it's a
where Death Guard don't need the ability to do more damage now, right? Their data sheet power is so high across so many different angles, which is awesome. They got a cool, good
you gotta
book.
get on objectives and score secondaries, guys. Those are,
Yeah,
you gotta stand on the points, you know?
you need unit count and ground circle management. If you can manage that,
Don't
anything
play,
that gets
like,
close to you is going to get
don't spend
fucking
those
destroyed.
Points, those points you were going to spend on a Blight Lord brick, go and put like a 10-mana Plague Marines with Fight First and 2 spawn squads in, and you will be so much happier.
Yeah, yeah.
Go and have
Also,
three
like-
blood drones to stand in front. Go and have 3 foul blight spots to stand in front of your opponent's Emperor's Children army, make them cry. Whatever you got to do.
A huge thing is that like those Blight Lords are not an independently operating piece. This is not like the expensive bricks we've seen in the old days, right? This is not, the CSM Terminators, the fucking, the big bricks of Exalted 8-bound, it literally in the same book, the 6 Death Shroud, right? Like you have to, they don't necessarily need to be led, right? I don't think any of the leaders do anything overly interesting or anything at all.
Rerolls guy is pretty decent for them. Like putting the virulence in there is okay, but
Sure. But they do want like a Predator buff and a Defiler buff and something to put them in contagion range and a stratagem and this and how many things are you going to throw down this like 500-point rabbit hole, right? Like Walter on Team USA talks about this with Necron Warriors all the time. The old Langendorf. He's like, you can take a 200-point unit of Necron Warriors and lose your mind. You could spend 1,300 points supporting this one 200-point unit. And I think that people are definitely going to do that with Blight Lords, so they need to be cognizant of the fact that,
to be fair, in Necrons at least it works because it's so fucking durable, right? They're blowing breaks off people in Australia, right? So
sure, yeah. I'm just saying, like, you need to be cognizant of what you're doing if you're doing this. Like, don't accidentally spend 1,200 points on like, I'm going to deep strike this and shoot 10 intercessors to death.
It can split fire at those 10 intercessors, though. It's going to kill 2 squads of 5 real dead.
Good job.
And then it'll charge nothing because those were the only 2 things within range and line of sight. But, yeah. Maybe in Flybone with 6-inch pilot consolidation, I could see it when it's actually got like stealth and stuff like that on top of it, and there's like enhancements that do some of that stuff. I don't think it's crazy to be like, yeah, okay, maybe you could probably build around it, but I think there are better ways to build the army. I think that tracks. Yeah. Right? Like the unit doesn't seem like it's actively bad. It's just the opportunity cost of playing it, right?
It got a bunch of glow ups, right? But so did all of the everything else.
Everything else. Yeah. Like, how are you going to fit in your 6 drones before you got to start with those guys?
It's crazy how cheap that is as like a list base, right? Especially if you're building index lists, being like
570 points for 3 flavor drones and 3 heavy light launcher drones.
Just being like 6 drones, 2 Poxwalker units is just like the simple, smooth.
Yeah, it's 690. Chuck in 2 spawn squads for some scout as well. You're not even 800. You're like 800.
Dude, you're cruising. That's all your mission play.
You're 3 and 2. Like that's just that.
Yeah, like you're literally, that stuff is like, decide what you want to do damage with, because this has your mission play, your screening, your skirmishing,
and you're making your opponent respect you in deployment sort.
Yeah, whole handled. So now, how do you want to do damage, right? And that's got a fucking whole litany of ways to do that.
Or more tanks, and do you want Blight Death Shroud, or do you want there's many ways to do it, and they all seem reasonably viable. And I think it'll take some experimentation to get to a point where we know which version of it is the best, right? Because there's also metagame considerations with that. I still don't love the idea of playing a shit ton of like small stuff that has to charge into Ynnari and things like that, right? That seems deeply annoying. But Death Shroud are going to get away with that because Death Shroud can charge into those things a little easier, and they can flamer them on the way in and stuff like that. So I think there's a little bit of play with there where you'll see different variations of different terrain sets and stuff like that, but they all seem pretty viable. Now, one last thing I want to talk about: why on God's earth do rhinos have fire support?
I think that is fine. How's that?
It's cool as shit. I just don't like it.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I think anything that I think us being in like Hulls the edition, like not Hulls necessarily, but like transport edition is fucking sick. I think it's cool that transports are good. I think they should remain being good. We kind of like
more points for having not self repair.
I mean, that's probably true. I mean, like the World Eater Rhino is more expensive than like the CSM Rhino.
It's 85, right?
Yeah, it is quite a bit better. That World Eater Rhino rule is fucked up sometimes.
Also, hold for 1 second. Can we talk about the fact that it had 6 attacks that hit on 3s in combat?
Yeah, my little boy running down elves.
It's 7 attacks at 801 on 2s on the charge if it's next to some 8-pound.
Yeah, you give it +1 AP with the strat and fucking bash some fucking.
You're just like rinse something.
Yeah, knock down some fucking warp spiders.
The number of times I saw back in ye olden days, rhinos when they hit on 6s but got +1 AP and +1 attack in Bloody Rose, they would go in and miracle dice a hit roll and kill something with +1 AP.
Dude, I'll fucking get them. I'll show them what's up. But yeah, that rule again. So cool. There are many things in World Eaters that are quite good. But to go back to Death Guard for a second, the rhinos are sick. That shit's dope. I'm glad that they're good. Maybe they're a little too good. Maybe we keep an eye on the cost of Plague Marines in the future if that gets out of hand. They are the only fucking thing that can go in fucking Rhinos. So if we think Rhinos are too good, you could very easily solve that problem by perhaps raising the cost of Plague Marines a bit.
Yeah, I do think the book is like a little undercosted, but I don't think it's like wild, crazy nonsense. I just think the book's a little underpriced.
It's just like 10% too cheap down the line is what happened, I think.
And
Yeah,
then
like,
a little more on these assholes.
Those guys are too cheap. Yeah, that like those ones probably at like 20-30% undercosted, but like the rest of it is mostly acceptable, I think.
That's
Like
how it feels
I
to
hope
me.
they print new Rhino rules for Space Marines and Chaos Space Marines. That's what I actually want. Is just them to just update those two as well, so I don't feel and sisters, so I don't feel as left out.
I think they have enough going for them. I'm going to be
No,
honest.
let me put Primaris Marines and Rhinos, and then I'll agree with you.
No.
Yeah,
I think
do it. It'll
the
be fine.
biggest thing about it is there's
I'll
just
be
like
good.
too many blow drones, too many infiltrating things.
I
and then
don't.
people can
genuinely
still
don't get
afford
why they made them a
always.
separate sheet.
Yeah, they shouldn't have. It's fine. I think that the book is really cool and really careful, and I like what they did with plagues and stuff like that, and I like their detachments. And I like that most of their detachments are actually good.
It's weird that they nerfed the second best one, right?
Yeah.
For the plagues.
But it's okay.
Yeah, I feel like they could have made it like +1 AP on the melee weapons instead of -1 save. I feel like that would have been nice. But
I do also feel like the book is deep enough that even if they nerf the first best thing, there will be an immediate.
see, like we said that about
come
orcs, though,
on.
right? Because this always happens when books come out, and people are like, "Oh man, it's such an interesting book," and then it like gets nerfed twice, and like, "Oh, this book is so boring." It's like, no, you just liked it because it was broken, then it wasn't actually an interesting book. And I think that's as always vulnerable to happening.
I think you have to be careful with the Chaos Legions specifically because you've splintered them all out into tiny ass books. So if you smack them about with the Nerf bat, they've got like fucking 10 data sheets that aren't characters. So it's really easy to make them fucking awful. So you have to be careful when you do it. Now, granted, if something comes out, send it like beyond broken, right? Like DACA, like, you know, release Eldar, stuff like that. Fucking send it to the Shadow Realm for a bit. But fix it eventually also, you know?
Right.
That's fair.
I think this is eminently like just an adjustment or two away from being a good solid book. As is, I think it's like
I'm not even convinced it's actually going to be broken.
I think the data we'll see what happens. Is what I'll say. I think it'll be very good to probably one of the better like top 3 armies in the game currently. Maybe we'll see. I don't know. I need to play more games into it.
I think it's quite fair, if that makes sense.
It's definitely front to backing you, right? Like World Eaters ain't getting in your backfield with War Spiders and fucking about you with the Incarn, or you know, like overwatching you with insane full rerolls on Gollum and Oath of Moment and Vindicators and shit like that, and spending 30 CP a game, right? It's kind of if this is the best army in the game, it's a good place for the game to be, right? It's a very fair best army in the game.
Yeah. I mean, if this ends up as the best army in the game, everything's gonna be fine. Like that's not a big deal.
Yeah. It's got very obvious power that you can build for as well, right? Like if this is the thing that is best, it is quite telegraphed how it is good, right? Which is fine. All right.
I feel like it also does have a couple like soft things that it probably struggles into at range and stuff like that, but that's about it. It probably gets through some of those things with lethal. Like it might struggle into vehicle spam and stuff like that. Maybe.
I don't know. It just depends on how you build it, right? Like it's easy to build it to not do that instead.
True.
That's the thing with Death Guard, right? You're like, I have a weakness.
If you want Predator Annihilators, they are still there, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think Pred Destructors are getting slept on.
Yeah, I think they're pretty solid still. They do a lot of stuff.
Strength 10 and lethal on that main cannon is wild.
It's not as good as Rapid Fire 6 though, Anthony.
That's okay.
It'll be okay. The number of people who are being baited into Rapid Fire Las Cannon Land Raiders is glorious, and I want to play against all of them at tournaments.
I mean, they're not even being baited, dude. Those people would have done that if they didn't have good rules, like, because they don't, right? That's what's happening. Like, they just want to play a Land Raider. It's a lot easier,
hey,
right?
Australia are going to have so many Terminators at WTC this year, though.
Look, it is. Your interactions with the Warhammer community online will become so much easier the minute you realize that the people that want to run those Land Raiders are just going to fucking do it. There's no amount of, like, reasoning with them or explaining to them. You're never going to fix it. They're just going to want to run the Land Raiders. So those Land Raiders are going to show up. It's going to be what it is.
Triple Lander and a Lord of Skulls. Let's do it.
Go nuts. Someone that isn't me is going to go nuts doing that.
If Vanguard still had its full hit rerolls, aura, baby, come on. That's why they took it away.
If That's the order those ideas happened in. Someone was like, we should give them rapid fire everything. It's going to be sick. And someone was like, oh no, but the rerolls. Oh, we'll just take the rerolls away. Fucking no! To be a fly on the wall while that conversation was happening, dude. Just, no, wait, please.
I deeply am headcanon that that's exactly what happened. We're just like, oh, would that be too good with Angron's full rerolls? We'll just give them ignore mods instead.
I don't even think it works there.
I will say I'm
fucking ignore mods and then you make a melee attack.
It's melee ignore mods, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not.
I'm deeply amused by the World Leaders book, like every gun just getting rapid fire, though. That really just deeply amuses me.
The one that makes me laugh the most is the Predator las cannon is one shot rapid fire 2.
It's 3, isn't it?
What?
2, but
yeah.
I
gotta tell you,
I won't lie. There's something deeply amusing about that.
I think the funniest thing that I've had happen so far was I aimed a Forge Fiend at a Rhino, and I was like, all right, here we go. Just gotta pop this Rhino. And he was like, smoke. And I was like, oh, fuck, no!
So, as a Jeet player, hitting on 5's full rerolls is basically an auto hit as far as I'm concerned. So, I think you're just living on it.
Mine don't do anything after when I roll those, though, you see. Yours are like sustained and lethal and shit. Mine just hit, and then I have to wound, and with no additional dice. And then they get the cover part of smoke. And I'm like, oh, shit.
That all sounds like that thing that we all say is for cowards, which is context. So,
Yeah.
moving on. Let's do a couple quick super chats from Ben Jurek, which is money for not subbing to Patreon. Thank you, Ben.
Thanks,
if
Ben.
you would like to not sub on Patreon, you can check out the YouTube membership program, which is in the description below. And then also his free super chat, which is, what's our favorite popsicle flavor? Now, I, being a filthy European, have never in my life had a popsicle, but I do not think I can tell the difference. Like, we have, like, ice lollies over here, right? It's just like a tube of water. Like, can't tell the difference.
Nah,
That's the
I
same
think he's
thing.
talking about, like, the mango popsicles I was having in Cali Cup, right? Like, the
Oh,
mostly
those
fruit.
things.
Yeah.
Oh, right, like a okay, so that would be like the brand for us.
Like
like
paletas or something like that.
Oh yeah, like a black currant or something like that.
No idea, brother.
I personally am
Sure.
a classic and love like orange dreamsicle. I won't lie.
Yeah, it's sugar, ice, and water, right? Like that seems sugar, ice, water.
Yeah,
That seems
just
pretty
just
reasonably.
straight mango. No
Yeah.
tahini or whatever it was in that one that I had that one time that just was not good.
Though I'm kind of like I want to go back to San Diego just to go back to Lupe's. I'm not gonna lie.
That place was awesome. We went there almost every day, twice a day for
I think
when we went this
there. I
year.
think we went there 4 times. Did you guys go more this time?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm a little jealous.
Yeah. Chamoy, that was it. Thanks, Ben.
All right.
That shit was tough.
Do we have any more generalized topics before I do the plugs and then we do questions?
Nah, like look,
Or do we want to talk a little bit about the other stuff at BFS? What have the other teams brought? What are we looking at? Or do we just want to talk about BFS later?
no, we can talk about BFS when after we all go, dude. We can talk about BFS as a unit next week.
We spoke about our list last week. I did not know what Brian had submitted. He actually submitted tactical. I think I said Warhard on the show last week. I lied.
Oh, that's
Sorry.
funny.
Brian
yeah,
doesn't tell us what he's doing. I'm still not sure what Nas submitted.
I just Nasa's playing guard. I just want a closing note for World Leaders real quick. Look,
Go for it.
right now, things don't look awesome. There are parts of the book that are still pretty good. There's a lot of like workable things in there. Some of this may even Voltron together into something that manages a good win rate. My early message, because you're going to get just fucking skulled the first time most people play this. You're just going to get shot and exploded. You're going to die at a rate that makes you confused, or at least that's what happened to me. Once you get past that step and play the second game and perhaps hide a bit better, things get better. It is not the worst army in the game by a long shot. There's a bunch of good rules in there. It's just a bit too expensive. So if you get the flow control on your dying wrong, it looks a lot worse than it necessarily is. That's where I'll leave off on them. Until we
really
get
enjoyed
17
my first
questions
game.
about them.
I really enjoyed my first game with it. I genuinely thought it was fun.
They're good. They're fun. It's a little frustrating when you lose a Hellbrute and then 3 8-bound to 1 Winged Demon Prince and Emperor's Children, and you're like, holy shit, that was 270 points. But once you get over that, it's pretty good.
getting grenaded is going to be the most miserable experience of your life as an EC player, right? You just get grenaded and it's like, that's 50 points.
As a world
That's
leader
50
player,
points.
yeah, that shit
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah,
You
it's
just
just like-
can't think about points. You have to fully push points out of your mind once you're on the table. You're just like, these units have these jobs, and that's it.
Would
These
you rather
units
have
these
two
jobs?
8-pound or a bloat drone?
Not gonna think about it. It's just nothing box that. We keep moving.
That lives in the same place
We
my
push
feelings
that
on my
down.
childhood do.
Yeah, same. That's where mine goes. You want to be good at Warhammer? Shouldn't have had good parents, idiot. Anyway, moving on.
Logan, let's put that for the cold open.
Yep.
1 hour 30 something seconds.
There you go. All right, let's do questions. Do the plugs, Dennis.
Let's do plugs. All right, guys. If you are an hour into the show, you're probably enjoying at least a decent amount, and we'd appreciate it if you could help us out a couple ways. One of those is by leaving a like, a subscription, all the usual social interaction things. We know it's played out, but it turns out actually asking does help with the numbers on it, which is why we have to do it every week. Otherwise, Jeremy holds me at gunpoint, and it's terrifying. If you're in a position to support us a little bit more and you would like to, you can also check out the Patreon and the YouTube membership program in the description box below or at patreon.com/statcheck. You can support us for $5 a month. That gets you access to our Patreon Discord, the discount code for Red Dragon, our wonderful sponsor, as well as the ability to interact with us, see Anthony's musings on World Eaters in a much more direct and active sense, and ask questions on the show in a manner that we will guarantee that they can be asked. If you'd like to support the show a little bit more, you can also check out all of our sponsors. That is Red Dragon, that is G15 Games, Saltar Games, and Will and Yutani. You can find all of the links in the description below, whether you're looking for terrain, models, merch, for StatCheck, anything in between. There is someone down there that would love to sell that to you and give us a bit of a kickback for it, which is why we would greatly appreciate it if you check them out. If you'd like to listen to any more of us, you can check out youtube.com/statcheck, where you can find both us, where we're here live every Tuesday at 11 p.m. UK time, 6 p.m. Eastern, depending on time zone shifts. And we are here to chat shit about all things Warhammer. And if you want to hear more of that, there's all of our back episodes as well as the live shows every Tuesday. You can also find more from the rest of our network, with mainly right now the Take All Comers guys, who are blowing it away, putting content out, whether that's stat reps or main shows. You can also find Champions of 40k, End of the Matrix, and XM1 in the back episodes on there. Lastly, if you'd like to get some help with the new Death Guard, the new World Eaters, the new terrifying metagame that we're about to enter into, Emperor's Children, Space Wolves, whatever, check out stat-check.com/coaching. If you'd like to get help from either myself, Liam VSL, Nassim Fachain, Lucas Troller, Nicholas Ocean Johnson, Tyler Bortel, or the good old eponymous Pumbaa, whose name I'm not going to try to pronounce on the show, you can check out stat-check.com/coaching, or drop us an email at coaching@stat-check.com. We'd be more than happy to work with you on anything that you'd like to look for in the 40k space. I'm about to take a break for a week because I'm disappearing to the US, but I'll be back soon. Do some more of that. In the meantime, everybody else is around and kicking. Liam even told me face to face at Home Nations that he only submitted Harlequins so that he'd get more Harlequins clients, because he was like, if I play Army and no one understands, they'll come to me to ask about it. So he is really just doing a great job for himself. So go and check out some
galaxy brain level stuff.
He's really doing a great job. So that is where I will leave you. We're now going to go on to Patreon questions, which is, as always, there are two ways to get your question answered on the show. One is to be a member of the Patreon Discord by either being a patron or YouTube membership. Second is to leave a super chat on the YouTube live stream. There is a third secret way, which is to ask a really good question, and we'll get to you if we have time. But I want to go to bed usually, so we don't do a ton of those. Nathan, take us away.
Let us begin. So we have a couple questions here that were posted in the outside the thread, which is why we have a thread started a little early this week. First question is from Sam Sando, which is, Anthony, looking at BFS lists and team comps, it looks like a lot more teams have taken World Leaders over CSM as their melee pusher list. And I think your team is taking both. Any thoughts on why it seems like more teams are going World Leaders over Bile for that archetype?
People really want another ride of playing World Leaders while they're still fun. The less cynical answer is that Bile is broadly tripped into a bit of a place in the meta where it's a little touch and go. There's a lot of damage 3 running around these days, and the I got 43 wound dudes is a lot less cute when someone's like, I have that many guns, let alone shots. Die. So yeah, I mean, it's a really damn it, I have to give a real answer to this fucking question. All right, so
let's do one more quick one as well before you dive into the Bile Tirade. Everyone's Chaos Demons player stole them for fucking Shadow Legion. That too. That definitely didn't help. So
the choice you're making when you take World Leaders over CSM, or the comparison at least, should be, as CSM, you have way more bodies for less points that do slightly less damage. But you pay for that and having a bigger footprint, and you have the benefit of just like tangential stuff, right? You have like Vect, CP fuckery. You have a little bit more disruption available in your toolbox. World Leaders have a functionally infinite damage ceiling and have the much smaller footprint going for them, plus the wild card of Angron. So you have to decide if your finesse lists of your comp, or like the given things of your comp, need shielding from stat checks via, World Leaders being like, no, you will not stat check my Eldari. They're going to get a 20 and I'm going to kill you, stat check person. Or you go with Bile and you be the problem. Our comp has both, because getting pinned by me and Josh is unpleasant.
It's really fun when you just like pick two players on our team and you're like, you're getting pinned by X and Y. And it's just like deeply unpleasant in every case, right? It's great.
Yeah.
The next question is from.
We also have
Alex.
Olivier on Blood Angels melee pressure with Adopting an 18 sack guard.
It's just melee pressure.
There's like there's like two layout 8s in the format we're playing. We were like, oh, let's just do bad things with layout 8 and layout 1.
The next question is from Alex H, which is, okay, I'm making more of an effort to focus on scoring recently and playing secondaries. My main faction is World Leaders, and I'm finding it hard to strike a balance between staging properly during the early turns and maximizing my score during those turns. I know this is just a skill issue, so the answer is to get more reps, but is there any particular considerations for melee armies to max their score during the early turns? Also, does any of the changes to World Leaders look like they would change these considerations at all, or is it too early to tell?
You just have to be really careful about getting too greedy about your, in Index anyway, getting greedy about your 8-bound counts. Like, I've never run into this problem with Eaters over much, because I always have, like, either, like, fucking Rhinos galore, or, like, Spawn, or a bunch of Jackals, or an Invocatus, or a this, or a that. I find that most of the time someone's running into these issues, they're being probably too precious about Invocatus. Like, he's a bunch of points, but he's a bunch of points to give stuff scout, and once the game starts, that guy does, like, for me, usually a single action and dies. So, like, it's about the framing of your units, right? You got to be okay with being like, all right, this thing's going to go over there and contain and then explode, and that's fine. And just try and be, like, vaguely near an objective when you go over there and die, so that when you die, you can stick the objective, right? That's it. Be careful in your list writing. Don't end up with too little trash, and then make sure that you're, not being too precious about like, oh, I need this thing. This thing's so important,
The next question is from McWhirp. For teams, what do you all think is better, Raiders with Noise Marines or taking both Bile and Emperor's Children?
Well, you can just take Emperor's Children and Raiders with Noise Marines. So
you maybe even probably should do that.
That's definitely worth considering. When you do this, let's just get this out of the way real quick. If you're going to take Raiders with Noise Marines, you need to back them up with some other long-range shooting platform.
Predators would be my suggestion. Don't play Vindies with them.
Some type of thing with range, because what you're trying to do is control lanes, and Noise Marines don't do that. They're shotgun infantry. They run up and shoot things. They don't, like, play the distance game and control angles, right? So just, like, you need both.
The next question is from Lucas Erickson, which is, what detachment from both Death Guard and World Leaders are you most excited to try out?
Is it sad?
I think for World Leaders, I'm most excited.
Oh, God.
I was going to say, I like the one where it's just cultists with the vehicles and monsters getting the buffs from them. I think that one looks like fun. I don't know. And then for Death Guard, the base index detachment looks like the most fun one to me.
So Idols of Khorne and Virulent Victorum for Nathan.
I was just going to say the index for both, I'm going to be honest. Like,
Berserker Warband and Virulent Victorum for Anthony.
I want to live in a world where I can play Possessed Slaughterbound or whatever that one is so fucking badly, but you just can't right now. It's just not worth it.
That's the touch that gives them Blood Surge, right?
Yeah, it's less about that and more about the strats, but like, yeah.
Well, since you guys have picked my ones, I'll say I really like the idea of the Khorne Demonkin, the stacking buffs over the course of the game and having access to Scarbrand and the Bloodletter Yin-Karn stratagem is super cool. I think it's just a really interesting suite of rules that's probably not backed up by data sheets that are quite good enough to get it there, but might be close if you are like really, really good with it. I think it's a really interesting detachment that offers you a different way to play that army that is cool and different, and I quite like. And I really like Flyblown for Death Guard. I think it's a really interesting way to play the game. It's got really cool stratagems, and I've always liked the ability to have 6-inch body consolidation plus stank shock, and the combination of those lets you do some wild movement shenanigans with boxwalkers or like big Death Strike squads or Plague Marines. And I think that's really interesting, and I'm looking forward to trying to get that on the table, even if I do think it's probably not better than Virulent. But I think it's interesting, so I would like to try it.
We have 2 super chats that came in, so I'm just going to do those before we go back to Patreon questions. The first one is actually just that one guy, John. Thank you for the $4.99 super chat, which is thanks for all you do. You're welcome for the GSC win rate. And then the second one,
I'm so sorry,
which
John.
is an actual second question, which I think is Australian $5. Hi guys, from John Walked Olive Edward, which is hi guys, do you think Harlequins are playable to top tournaments if you're not Liam, looking to really focus on a faction and enjoy their playstyle?
It looked really good when Liam was playing it. I don't know how one to relate that. He sure did win LGT with Veterans of the Long War, and then the army never did anything ever again. So it'll definitely get a little bit of trading on the value of like death. Like you're just playing good data sheets, right? Like Dark Reapers are just a good data sheet. Eldrad's just a good data sheet. It's got cool shenanigans. It's got the, your opponent will not know what it does. Like people know what Yunari does now. People don't know the shit about what Harlequins does. So you'll definitely get some equity out of that. I don't know, man. It feels like it's probably fine. It's probably about as good as any of the other Eldar options are that aren't Yunari, but does benefit from people not knowing what it does anymore, right?
Yeah.
Like that is a genuine competitive advantage.
And you still just want to shove some Eldar units into it, I think. Anyway,
Yeah, it's still playing like some Dark Reapers. It's still playing like Eldrad plus a bunch of Flamers to like help you if you get rushed, because you can like use that like clear power to stop you from getting jailed in. So it's got some counterpunch because it wants to play a tricky shenanigans game with like its blown up units and getting back in transports. And it's got a bit of range output to stop you from standing in its lanes, and it's got a bit of counter rush pleasure. And then it's a Liamless, so it's very aggressive when once it's dealt with like not getting rushed and people not just like disrespecting in deployment. So.
It does
Yeah,
the roosh.
cool. You could definitely play a game with it, and probably if you put a bunch of time into it, you'd probably find it's very solid for doing a better amount of stuff. And it can actually stand on objectives, unlike fucking Aspect Host. So,
yeah. All right, the next question is from that one guy, John. How do you parse out maybe I should rotate armies versus my game mechanics / decisions were bad when looking back on games?
Rotating armies is almost always incorrect unless you're like hundreds of reps deep. Unless you're just like flatly not having a good time and then you're not going to play more. But like, I think people make that decision way too early.
John, GSC might be a little too complicated right now.
All right, the next 2 questions are from Frank. First one is, how many points would Emperor's Children Winged Princes need to go up by before you go, maybe I don't take 3?
I would lose a lot of other stuff in my lists before I took less than 3.
Reasonable.
We've been playing the Saco list that runs 2. I think at like 220, I start being like, maybe I only want the stand back up one. But even then, I don't even think it's that likely. I think I would just cut a Tormentor unit.
That's also how I feel about running 3. I would just cut my second Tormentor squad.
At like 240, I'd probably be like, all right, the stand back up one is enough.
I think even then I would just go down to 2. Like,
sure, yeah, I don't think that's crazy. BFS is Battle for Salvation, Martine. It's a team tournament we're going to next weekend in the States.
All right, and the second question from Frank is, what would you want Flawless Blades to gain in order to make them worth serious consideration on their own?
2 attacks and a point of armor save.
1 attack, current point value, good unit.
I didn't hate them when I used them. Like I played a couple games with them. They were like
this close.
They were doing fine. They were just really fragile.
They're so close. They could just they're not expensive right now. So if they just got 1 more attack, they'd be fine.
Give them an attack when they use their ability for the crit 3s.
Sure. Yeah, we can pretend that matters. Sure.
Yeah. All right, the next
I guess
question...
you can't use the ability when they fight on death. So in like some detachments, that's like a thing.
Yeah.
Sure.
The next question is from Nick K, which is, it looks like Warhorde has started to overtake tactical pretty consistently, more players and better performance. Why do you think that is?
I think it's easier to play to bigger wins. I think tactical encourages you to play like a much more like ticky-tacky game, whereas Warhorde's just like green men objectives, and that's
And it
like
still plays 18 tank busters if you want them. So.
I mean, you definitely shouldn't, but you can, I guess.
I've seen enough versions of it playing 18 tank busters to be like, yeah, okay, this is the thing people are still doing.
If you're playing 18, just play it's right there. What are you?
Dude, I don't fucking know. I don't know what to tell you. I've seen it.
Orc players, dude.
They have a very strong union.
Yeah,
that's true. All right, the next question, Kels, if you want your question about GSE into Death Guard and World Leaders talked about, I think we talked about at least the Death Guard matchup earlier in the podcast. Nick G's question is, list submission is coming up for Green Banner League, YOLO 100 Neos, or go Biosanctic. Gonna be lots of Death Guard and Emperor's Children.
Play 110 Neos, you'll have a better time. 100 to 110 Neos, you'll have a better time than playing Biosanctic. Biosanctic is dog water in the current meta game.
I think
all the things that Anthony said about Bile earlier, except you also just like don't have anything to do about it. You're not like, oh, I'll just try to stat check them. You're like trying to run fucking aberrants into anti-infantry 3 up and 2 up the meta game. You're just gonna die.
I think there's a lot of matchups that are not good for Bile that Biosanctic is pretty fine into, but I get what you're saying.
All right. The next question is from Truman, which is, do y'all have any advice for how a coach can best support an 8-man team before an event?
Before an event is tough. At the event is easier. But before the event, like help your team with their matrices, like play reps for them that they
also just like make sure
into.
they do them.
Yeah, like chase your team for things like that. That's definitely part of it, right? Making sure your team has done the matrices. Do some list breakdowns of teams that you do some research into the team you're playing round 1, right? That kind of stuff that you can do. Like your players should be doing some of this anyway, but realistically, they're not going to. We're all lazy assholes. So yeah, like print out the map pack, print out their matrices, print out the tables and stuff like that, and do the legwork that they're not going to do to make their life easier. Print paper score sheets, bring a spare clock, bring a spare set of dice because someone will forget one, bring a spare tape measure, right? It's all the just like support staff stuff. And then when you're at the table, it's obviously get into the swing of things, but mostly it's just make sure your team is doing the things that will help them succeed, like filling out the information that your captain will need to do pairings and stuff like that. I really like how Brian made me make a matrix on like 2 days ago and hasn't even remotely filled it out yet.
So he could not fill it out.
Yeah, exactly, right? So...
And then the question for me apparently is, do you believe in Joe Hendry? I assume this is about the WWE wrestler, and I do not. He got absolutely wrecked at WrestleMania, which is fair. The next question is from Bearded Horus, which is, hypothetically, what's your hypothetical Noise Marine Raider list for singles look like? Hypothetically, of course.
I mean, I don't have anything insightful to add. I would just play Nathan's lists and add Annihilators instead of Destructors and call it a day.
I would suggest looking at Nathan's list and then doing the change that we spoke about, which is cutting Nemesis Claw for a 4th Rhino, and play that.
There you go. All right. And then Henry the Wizard has the next question, which is, what is the best unit in 40k that gets taken solely for its stat/profile with an entirely 100% useless datasheet rule?
What has a useless data sheet? There's very little that has a useless data sheet rule.
Yeah, useless is hard.
Useless is a really high bar, right? Because there's a lot of like I would say that I play neophytes and they have sticky, not because they have sticky, but the sticky is definitely like a relevant part of their data sheet.
Do Spawn have a relevant rule on their data sheet?
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
In almost every instance, their Spawn are universally one of the most like consistently stupid data sheet rules.
Yeah.
I mean, like basic ones are, what is it? Oh, subtract 1 OC from models in that enemy unit.
Those ones suck, but that's because they're OC 0, not because of their datasheet rule.
Okay. Oh yeah, they've got scuttling horrors and Emperor's Children.
Like Wave Serpent's datasheet rule is -1 to wound, which like just doesn't matter. Like you would play the Wave Serpent because it is a 10 transport, a 12 transport.
Yeah.
The truck is what Brian says, which is fair.
The truck is true.
The truck is true.
Yeah, anything. Anything with self repair, right, is the easiest answer. Right, rhinos and stuff like that. Like it exists, it's there, it's cool. I would also say maybe Noise Marines, like the Noise Marines Battle Shock thing, like the -1 to test, but doesn't make you take one, is not why you're playing Noise Marines. It is
That's
a thing
fair.
that they happen to have that you are like, you'll use it when it comes up, but it's not a huge deal. Yeah, the Tyranifex, I would say, is up there. The
Its
blank
data
is
sheet rule used
blank
to be
is
really good.
there. Its data sheet rule is rupture cannon.
All right.
Yeah.
The next question is from Goran, which is how high is the skill floor now for world eaters with the new book?
We'll
Yes.
figure it out.
It is. Apologies to the most people high, I think.
All right. The next question is from Nick K, which is who is worse, Angron or Fulgrim?
Fulgrim.
I think
Yeah,
it is just
Fulgrim is much worse.
Fulgrim is the weakest Primarch, right? Like it's not. He's worse than the Lion, right?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, for
Like,
sure.
I could make reasons to put the Lion in the list. I struggle to put fucking Fulgrim in a list.
Next question is from Charles, which is what the fuck is layout 8 on Search and Destroy?
Awful. It's
Seems
miserable. It's bad. Yeah.
All right.
Joe
next
will be
question
at
is from-
BFS Martine. We're doing a stream game with me and Lennon on the Friday night for charity. So check out War Games Live on Friday night after round 2 of the main event. Because it's 2 games Friday, 2 games Saturday, 1 game Sunday.
All right. The next questions
Fulgrim
are
worse than
from
Kaldor
Isaac.
Drago. As Isaac asked 800 words of questions again.
No, it's just 2. What
Oh,
color scheme should I do for my EC army? I like metallic purple, like that kind of like cherry red sheen for purple. I think that's kind of neat.
I think you should paint them purple and gold in tribute to the person you're probably stealing the list off of, Nas.
Or you should paint them exactly as well as Sacco's are painted, or you can't use the army.
Oh, that's a tough one because
Yep.
you're not gonna manage that. I'm sorry to say. You should paint them neon green with blue highlights.
I like it. All right, and then the second question is, I won an event. When will I see that reflected in my elo? I'm keeping track of these actually, Isaac, just so you know. So I have a little notepad next to me, and I'm putting little notches next to it, and we're taking 10 elo off of you every time this question is asked.
Good.
I'm keeping track. We're gonna add it. Don't you worry about it.
Well, we're gonna subtract.
Aaron,
we're not gonna add
asks-
shit.
Yeah. Subtract it. Sorry. Yes, we're going to keep subtracting it until you're at 0. We'll see how it works. Aaron, Space Wolves move 7, Berserkers move 8. Is the next power creep just movement characteristics? Apparently, yes.
The next power creep, it's been happening for years, bro. I still, every time I look at a screamer, I'm like, why is it movement 14? I don't get it.
I was actually kind of surprised that they added like a movement to the vast majority of Death Guard data sheets in the Death Guard book.
The Slanesh Prince is the most egregious one, though, right? Like that guy rolls a 6, and you're just like, oh, he just goes literally anywhere, right?
20?
Oh,
20, yeah.
20
Just like
inches.
terrain is a suggestion to me. Might as well have Warp Walker.
All right. And then the next question is, Anthony just listened to Art of War Down Under, and Adam was super excited for Gore Track, whereas you are pretty cold on the idea. Are you still? I mean, we talked about this a little bit earlier. You said it's just a worse.
Anthony
Sky
doesn't
Splinter,
like losing his
right?
army rule to a high rolling melt, the multi-melta.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't like losing my army rule. Period. I don't like it when that happens at all.
One-shot army rules are inherently limited, especially when something that's not directly in your control. And then I think the biggest issue I have with Gore Track is actually the score energy it has with the disembark, right? Like you disembark.
So much of Gore Track is like, get out of your transport. Get out of my transport and do what, bro? Get out of my transport and have Lance with my blood surge that doesn't count as fucking charging? God damn it.
It's heroic protection, bro. It's what it's all about. Once you disembark, then you can free strat heroic with your prince.
Anthony's gonna burst a blood vessel if we keep antagonizing him this way.
That's okay.
The next question is 18 Screamers and Shadow Legion or bust?
Yeah,
it's not really a question, Tyler.
You should do what Nicholas Friction does and just copy him. Generally, it's probably a good way to play it. And he's playing 18, so you should play 18. It's probably the best sheet in that book, right?
I think being Niklaus is the best sheet in that book for sure.
That's also true. Yeah. I've played a couple games of Nicholas' list. It's been very enjoyable. I like playing that army.
The best demons player must always be named Nick.
And the next question is from Pius, which is, what steps help with getting a group of friends to perform well as a team?
playing together a lot. That's it.
There you go.
And if you can figure out a way to get people to consistently practice together, let me fucking know.
Yeah,
Because
just we will sell it to everybody.
yeah.
The next question and last question from the Discord is from that one guy, John. How should I paint my Death Guard in this now that I'm trying to do something less big brain?
You should paint your Death Guard.
Ooh, paint them white. There you go. Paint them the
Mine
old
are
classic
painted white,
heresy
so that's a
Innis's
good.
Death Guard looks sick.
My Death Guard are one of my only nicely painted armies. I think you should go for. I've never seen red Death Guard, but like a burnt, like a burnt, like maroon, right, like chip, like browning armor and stuff like that. I
Or
think
like
that looks
even
sick.
like an autumn toned Death Guard would probably be pretty tight, right?
I agree. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, everything dies in the autumn.
It's true. All right, and that
That's
is
one of
it
my
for
favorite
questions. I didn't star anything, so we're just gonna roll off into the sunset.
I think we can do another 5 minutes to get it to a clean 90 minutes. I think that seems reasonable.
Oh, fine.
Yeah.
I had a question which was originally started, which is what are some weaknesses of Death Guard?
They are slow and they're really good at hitting the thing in front of them and nothing behind that.
Yeah. They're also like they take a hit pretty good, but it's shockingly easy to fold up a Plague Storm list.
They're very honest with their defensive profiles, right? The fact that they've lost like the stealth strat, the heal strat is like a lot more like it's a better heal strat, but it's a lot more limited where it can be. There's no feel, no pains outside of like one or two specific models. Like it's very much like if you start killing them, they'll die, and it's your job to leverage getting to that position.
Yeah.
But yeah,
like I said, that I've seen a Plague Storm build just get fucking rolled up and binned. Like
you're just like, oh, those three Vindicators all just like rolled slightly too well, and you're just not playing a game anymore.
I mean, you just get your Rhino chassis with gumption, right? Your Rhino chassis with an invuln. So you still gotta like, you know,
Yeah, that invul only kicks in once your opponent's AP 4.
Yeah, like those bloat drones are too cheap, but they ain't too cheap because of their defenses. You know what I mean? Like you gotta be careful.
Yeah, like the Exocrine can get away with it because it's got that 14 wounds. It's like, all right, man, I can take 2 last cannons, guaranteed. The bloat drone's like, I can check out.
Yeah.
State of Terrors right now, completely fine. There is a cool invasion fleet builds.
Yeah,
that
quite
are playing,
good in
like,
the worst way possible.
40 to 80 Termagants and healing and maybe a Norn. It's like, it's fine. It's miserable. And then Vanguard Onslaught is genuinely pretty good as a rush army, but it's always a little bit like, you are very much riding the lightning when you play Vanguard Nids. The event is either going to go fantastically for you until it stops abruptly, or you're going to ride off into the sunset and go 5-0 by like just breaking the back off of 5 people who never had a chance.
Yeah.
And then Paint Celestine has a question, which is how much do we have to donate to get Innis to do a Shui live on stream?
Glad that wasn't me.
How much did you guys charge for it?
I think it was like $200 or something like that.
So the thing with the show is I don't like beer, so there's got to be like a baseline amount of like to get me to drink beer as well.
The problem is you're never, I assume, gonna get Lennon to drink on stream.
No,
like
Lennon doesn't drink.
Correct. Lennon, I think, is on record somewhere as saying he might, maybe, have one sip of a beer if we win WTC. So the amount of money required to proc that, I assume, is a 5-digit number, but I have no idea because I've not tried.
If I can be provided with cider and the problem is I'm only going to be bringing one pair of shoes with me, right? Like because I'm flying hand luggage only. So
we're
it's
gonna
going
go
to be
a dope cider place on Thursday,
like,
I think.
and we can't like. I'm not going to take the money from to buy a new pair of shoes, so I'd have to buy a new pair of shoes. Like realistically,
we will be in a mall.
So the plan that Gillen and I are having, though, the goal with this one is not to be the same as the thing. I can talk about this a little bit, right? Anthony and David's game was a like, hey, let's do an exhibition show, right? We're doing this because Joe heard when I was on the stream at LVO that Len and I had never played, and he wants to show us playing a tournament game. So the goal is to play a competitive game that we are taking seriously, and then do some. So
that's
like
different.
It's very different vibe there. We are still doing it for charity. There will still probably be some stuff going on. we've agreed to do some like forfeits on loss or for the loss and stuff like that. I'm going to be taking a model to give to him for if he beats me and vice versa. I think I got promised the Calgar that he used at WCW, and I've offered him I think a Deso squad. I need to double check what I put in. But yeah, I'm not drinking out of someone else's shoe. That is a hard no. I am sorry, that is not happening.
Ben said he would bring you a shoe, though. All right. There are 2 super chats that came in, and I think that wraps us out essentially, which is the first one. Thank you for the $5 to Daniel Paulini, which is Anthony Warpbane or Ultramarines Gunline for a local team event.
I think Warpane's great, but if your team doesn't... Wait, was that the local team event?
Yeah, it said local team event.
I mean, assumedly, you taking Warpbane opens up Ultras for someone else, so probably that. But if that's not the case and it's just a pure either-or, then take Ultras.
Reasonable. And then another question, also from Daniel. Thank you for the addition. Well, not a question. Daniel, thanks for the other $2. Also, because Innes will bully me again.
Dan, I'm not
emoji of some
gonna
kind.
bully you anymore. I love you now.
Brian wants to know what the number is, though.
For you to drink
I'm
out of someone.
I'm not giving you a number.
What's the number, Innes? Is it $1,000?
I don't want to think about
for
it.
charity. $1,000 for charity, though. It is. Come on.
What about $1,000 for Innes?
I go to too many tournaments and come back sick as fuck and lose another 3 days of work to not be capable of making that arrangement. I am sorry. I am not getting foot fungus in my lungs because Brian wants me to drink out of someone else's shoe. It's
But
just not
Ben says
happening.
he'll bring you a clean new shoe. So it would
But
just
that's
be out
not
of a
what
shoe.
Brian's asking.
It's for the kids. All right. It's
That's
for the
fair.
kids, Innes. It's for the kids.
I'm pretty sure we're doing a dog charity, but let's not worry about it.
Those are the best kinds of kids.
You all disgust me. You all make me upset. You'll have to ask Joe. Joe is the one handling all that side of stuff.
Yeah.
Check it out. We'll be on stream. Hopefully, we'll also get a round against Art War. The one thing that we're desperately hoping doesn't happen is that we pair Art War in round 2 or 3, so that we just go straight back into it.
That would be funny.
Can you imagine if Len and I pair round 2?
That would be funny.
Gonna engineer it to not happen. It's why I'm doing pairings, or why I'm helping with pairings.
Yeah, there you go.
Do we have pairings cards organized? We should do that. Or are we using models again?
It's above my pay grade, bro. Pairing's the only thing I don't handle.
Dan, could you handle pairings cards? That'd be great. Thanks.
All right.
I have tried Malort. You made me try Malort, right, Nathan?
I did. Yeah, I brought Malort, little bottles of Malort with me to Belgium, and
I did
Scotland.
drink it. It was fine. It wasn't my favorite.
It's true. That there was one Canadian who loved it and asked me to give him more bottles, and so I
I
gave
think a
him
shot
more
of
little
tequila out my
bottles.
shoe. That seems reasonable. There's not a lot of liquid to that. That could be arranged.
Yeah.
All right, guys. On that disgusting note, I hope everybody's had a good time. I will not be on the show next week. I assume that actually, if Anthony's on the show next week, I might just drop in behind him.
There's
But
a 50%
realistically-
chance that there's no show next week.
There
But
is
the
a
week
50%
after that.
Yeah, like if Anthony and I might just like show up together behind, like, no, but that seems unlikely. We're probably going to be doing stuff. So
Fair.
we will catch you next week or the week after. We'll see how that goes. But otherwise, I'm going to do my best to do some recording while we're at BFS because we're out there for a while. But as always, when I promise that, it never happens. So don't fucking count on it. Maybe there'll be some stuff. Otherwise, I hope everybody has a great time. Best luck at your tournaments. Nathan, go and do the thing that you have to do before I hit the outro video.
Yeah, give me a second. Opening the
Oh,
dock.
come on. I gave you so long.
Shut up, Innes. Can't even give a number. All right. Thank you to Christopher. Why didn't I start coaching ages ago? Irvine. Thank you to Willow Weeks. Thank you to Dan F. Thank you to Luke, Dan F. McCarthy. Thank you to David. Luck has, need keeps, toil earns. Clark. Thank you to EI Ear. Damn it. That gets harder every time. Thank you, James H. Thank you, Colton, Dan F. Miller. Thank you, Fungus. Thank you, John Viet Gang. Counting the days until Nathan gets shaken down for protection money by the local turkey mafia. I haven't seen him in a couple days. I'm worried that somebody killed them and ate them. Thank you to Cam, F. Dan, Morton, Hog Emoji. Thank you to Archon Rahal, here to remind you that Storm Guardians are more durable than Jackals because here at Eldar Union, we're better than you. Thank you to Josiah Gattle. Thank you to Frankie, Sesame Baby, one more time fresh. Thank you to Isaac, well-known long-term Emperor's Children's player. I'm gonna stick with them for the long term. Wait, what's that bloat drone over there doing? Tarada? Thank you to Good Luck at BFS. Thank you to Thomas. This entry, TBD of Requosion. Thank you to Stephen. That's a lot of stinky auras you got there. It'd be a shame if someone ignored all modifiers to their characteristics. Ross.
Can't do that anymore.
Tom.
You can.
Thank you
with
to Tom, the
Silent King, which
questionable.
is
Shut
what
up.
he's
Silent
talking
King's
about.
not real.
He can't hurt you. Thank you to Tom, the questionable accents used to portray white scars in earlier audiobooks. H. True. Thank you
Are they not
to
Scottish?
Boy Howdy. No, they're very bad Asian accents, like
That's
very
so much
stereotypical
worse.
ones.
Who's the Scottish one?
Thank you to Boy.
Thousand Sons? I forget. Ultramarines? I think it's
Actually,
Ultramarines.
It's funny because
it's meant to be
Transylvania
Ultramarines.
is the Transylvanian one is Space Wolves. Thank you to Boy Howdy. It'd
Sorry,
be
what?
great if people's solutions to we'll get to it later. Boy Howdy,
I
it'd
don't
be
wanna
great if
talk
people's
about that.
solutions to the game didn't include get rid of fractions I don't like. And then thank you to Trusting the Tau will finally be fixed next time. And bye-bye.
No, that was too early, dude. You can't do that to me.